Identity theft isn't someone guessing your password anymore. It's someone slowly stepping into your life while you're still living in it. Your name, your accounts, your reputation, used in places you've never been, for things you never did. And the uncomfortable part is this. Most people think identity theft is a single event, when in reality, it happens in levels. Some you can fix, some you can recover from, and the last one, you don't even get control back. Level 1 is the version of identity theft everyone recognizes. You wake up, try to log in, and something's wrong. Your password doesn't work, your email says a new device signed in from another country. Maybe your Instagram is suddenly posting crypto scams. This level feels loud, obvious, almost polite in how it announces itself. Someone gets access to one account, email, social media, streaming, maybe even your Apple or Google account, usually through reused passwords, phishing links, or data breaches you never knew happened. It's annoying, stressful, but it still feels solvable. You reset the password, you turn on two-factor authentication, you message support, you get your account back. And because you got control back, your brain files the incident under handled. Here's the part nobody tells you. Level 1 isn't the theft, it's the door handle being tested. Most people stop here mentally. They think, I caught it early. But identity theft doesn't escalate by force, it escalates by access. Because once someone controls one account, even briefly, they don't rush, they observe. And that's how you slip into Level 2. Level 2 is where the consequences start hurting. This is when money gets involved, not always dramatically at first. Sometimes it's a small charge you barely notice, a subscription you didn't sign up for, a transaction you assume is a glitch. Other times it's much louder. Your card gets declined, your bank sends an alert, or you're suddenly locked out of your own account. At this level, the attacker isn't just using your account, they're acting as you financially. They might add themselves as an authorized user, redirect OTPs, open accounts using your details. And here's the psychological trick. Banks often treat this as a dispute, not an identity crime. So you spend days or weeks proving that you're you. You send documents, you answer security questions, you wait. Eventually, you might get the money back. Sometimes you don't. But even when you win, something shifts. You realize how much of your identity is tied to systems that don't actually know you. They just recognize patterns. At this stage, people feel violated, angry, alert. They tighten security, new passwords, new cards, maybe even a credit freeze. And once again, it feels like the situation is contained. But Level 2 still isn't the dangerous part, because now your identity isn't just accessed, it's trusted, which leads to Level 3. Level 3 is quieter. This is where identity theft stops feeling like theft and starts feeling like coexistence. Instead of locking you out, the attacker stays alongside you. They don't change passwords, they don't trigger alerts, they log in when you're asleep. They use devices that blend into your normal behavior. Same country, same browser type, same time patterns. They observe how you talk to customer support, how you respond to prompts, which services you trust. Sometimes they don't do anything at all for weeks. This is identity piggybacking, when someone rides on your identity instead of replacing it. They let you keep living your digital life while quietly expanding their access. Think of it like someone secretly copying your house keys and only entering when you're not home. Nothing looks broken, nothing feels wrong, but you're not alone anymore. This is the level where attackers collect material for later stages, your habits, your tone, your recovery answers, your digital personality. And because nothing breaks, nothing gets fixed. This is where the illusion of safety becomes dangerous, because by the time you notice something is off, the problem isn't a breach anymore, it's a replica. Level 4 is where identity theft stops being about stealing your identity and starts being about creating a new one using yours. This is synthetic identity blending. Instead of pretending to be you completely, attackers mix your real data, name, date of birth, phone number, partial SSN equivalents, address history, with fabricated information. The result is a person who technically doesn't exist, but passes verification checks better than a real human. And the terrifying part is this: synthetic identities are often more trusted than real ones. They don't have messy histories, they don't forget passwords, they don't contradict themselves in forms. They're clean, consistent, optimized for systems that reward stability. So while you're protecting your accounts, another you is being built in parallel. You might never see it directly, but it shows up in strange ways. Loans you didn't apply for, services you've never used rejecting you, systems treating you like you're lying because your data conflicts with a cleaner version of you elsewhere. Level 5 is when identity theft escapes systems and enters social reality. This is where someone doesn't just use your credentials, they use your voice, your behavior, your reputation, your email tone, your writing style, your online opinions, your face, your voice. At this level, attackers don't need to hack anything anymore. They convince people, employers, platforms, even friends. AI makes this easier than most people want to admit. Voice cloning, face synthesis, writing style replication. The tools don't need perfection, they only need plausibility. And here's the brutal part. Once trust is damaged, evidence stops mattering. And even if you clear your name later, the stain doesn't fully disappear. Screenshots travel faster than corrections. First impressions outlive retractions. But even this isn't the final level, because level 6 isn't about someone pretending to be you. It's about the world refusing to believe you are you. Level 6 is where identity theft becomes irreversible. Not because no one cares, but because the systems can't agree on who you are anymore. Your data fragments across platforms, conflicting records, conflicting behaviors, conflicting histories. You're not erased, you're diluted. Some systems recognize you, others reject you. Some trust a version of you that no longer matches your real life. Others flag you as suspicious because your data doesn't align cleanly. And here's the hardest truth. There is no reset button for identity. You can't start over. You can't fully delete yourself. You can't pull your data back from systems designed to remember forever. If this made you uncomfortable, there's a deeper layer we didn't unpack here because it deserves its own breakdown. Identity theft becomes truly dangerous when anonymity, tracking, and false safety collide. And that's exactly what I explored in this video. Check it out next.